Vladimir Putin is a name that resonates across the globe. He is a man who evokes strong reactions, from admiration to apprehension. His journey from a childhood in Leningrad to the helm of Russia is nothing short of extraordinary. Putin's leadership has left an indelible mark on Russia's political landscape and its position on the world stage. Putin's story is one of power, ambition, and unyielding control. His supporters hail him as the savior of a nation on the brink, while his critics denounce him as an autocrat who silences dissent. Regardless of perspective, one thing is undeniable: Vladimir Putin is a force to be reckoned with. His influence extends far beyond the borders of Russia. He has challenged the established world order, asserted Russia's presence in global affairs, and become a key player in the intricate game of international politics. This essay delves into the life and times of Vladimir Putin, exploring his formative years, his rise to power, and his impact on Russia and the world. We will examine the contrasting views of his legacy, leaving readers to grapple with the complex realities of his rule. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin was born on October 7, 1952, in Leningrad, a city scarred by World War II. Growing up in a communal apartment, he experienced firsthand the hardships faced by ordinary Russians. His early life was marked by a desire for stability and strength, values that would later define his political ideology. Putin's path took a decisive turn when he joined the KGB, the Soviet Union's notorious security agency, in 1975. He served as a foreign intelligence officer for over 15 years, honing his skills in espionage, information control, and strategic thinking. His time in the KGB, particularly his posting to East Germany, profoundly shaped his worldview. The KGB instilled in Putin a deep-seated belief in the importance of state power, loyalty, and control. These principles would become the bedrock of his leadership style and his vision for Russia. The fall of the Soviet Union in 1991 had a profound effect on Putin, who viewed it as a geopolitical catastrophe. This formative experience in the shadowy world of intelligence left an enduring mark on Putin's psyche. It instilled in him a sense of secrecy, a distrust of the West, and a determination to restore Russia to its former glory. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, Putin transitioned from intelligence operative to politician. He returned to Russia and navigated the turbulent waters of post-Soviet politics with remarkable agility. His rise through the ranks was swift, marked by a combination of political acumen, strategic alliances, and a ruthless pragmatism. Putin's ascent began in his hometown of St. Petersburg, where he served in various administrative roles. His competence and efficiency caught the eye of then-President Boris Yeltsin, who saw in Putin a capable and loyal lieutenant. In 1999, Yeltsin appointed Putin as prime minister, a move that would prove to be a turning point in Russian history. On December 31, 1999, in a surprise move, Yeltsin resigned, leaving Putin as acting president. Putin, with his image of calm authority and promises of stability, resonated with a Russian populace weary of economic turmoil and political chaos. He won the subsequent presidential election in 2000, marking the beginning of his reign over Russia. Putin's rise to power was nothing short of meteoric. He had gone from a mid-level KGB officer to the president of Russia in just over a decade, a testament to his ambition, political skills, and the shifting tides of history. Upon assuming the presidency, Putin moved swiftly to consolidate his power and reshape Russia's political landscape. He understood that a firm grip on the levers of government was essential to achieving his vision of a strong and stable Russia. Putin's strategy involved a multi-pronged approach, targeting the media political opposition and the oligarchs who had amassed vast wealth and influence in the aftermath of the Soviet collapse. Recognizing the power of the media, Putin brought television stations and newspapers under state control. Critical voices were silenced, and the narrative about Putin and his policies was carefully managed. The Kremlin's propaganda machine effectively promoted a cult of personality around Putin, portraying him as a benevolent father figure protecting Russia from its enemies. Political opponents faced increasing pressure, intimidation, and even violence. High-profile critics like journalist Anna Politkovskaya and opposition leader Boris Nemtsov were assassinated, sending a chilling message to anyone who dared challenge Putin's authority. Putin also moved to rein in the oligarchs, stripping them of their assets and political influence. Those who pledged loyalty to Putin were allowed to maintain their wealth, while those who resisted faced the full force of the state. This strategy effectively neutralized the oligarchs as a political threat and consolidated Putin's grip on power. Through these calculated actions, Putin transformed Russia's political system. He created a system where dissent was stifled, the media was muzzled, and power was concentrated in the hands of the few. Section 5. Russia on the global stage, a resurgence under Putin. Under Putin's leadership, Russia underwent a dramatic transformation on the world stage. After the economic and political turmoil of the 1990s, Russia re-emerged as a force to be reckoned with, asserting its interests with renewed vigor and challenging the established global order. Putin's foreign policy has been characterized by a blend of pragmatism, assertiveness, and a determination to restore Russia to its rightful place as a great power. He has cultivated strategic alliances with countries like China, challenged the influence of the United States and its allies, and projected Russian military power in regions such as Syria and Ukraine. Putin's actions have sent shockwaves through the international community, prompting condemnations from Western powers and raising concerns about a new Cold War. His annexation of Crimea in 2014, a move widely condemned as a violation of international law, marked a turning point in East-West relations. Despite facing international sanctions and diplomatic isolation, Putin has remained defiant. He has presented himself as a defender of Russian interests, a bulwark against Western encroachment, and a champion of a multipolar world order. Putin's foreign policy has been a key factor in shaping his image both domestically and internationally. His supporters view him as a strong leader who is not afraid to stand up for Russia's interests, while his critics see him as a reckless and unpredictable actor who is destabilizing the world order. Section 6. The annexation of Crimea, a turning point. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 marked a pivotal moment in Putin's rule and sent shockwaves through the international community. It was a bold and calculated move that underscored Putin's willingness to use military force to achieve his strategic objectives and his disregard for international norms. Following the ouster of Ukraine's pro-Russian president, Viktor Yanukovych, in 2014, Russia swiftly moved to seize control of the Crimean Peninsula, a strategically important territory with a majority Russian population. Russian troops, without insignia, took control of key infrastructure and government buildings, while a hastily organized referendum, widely condemned as illegitimate, was held, paving the way for Crimea's annexation by Russia. The international community reacted with outrage, condemning Russia's actions as a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The United States, the European Union, and other countries imposed sanctions on Russia, targeting its economy and key individuals close to Putin. The annexation of Crimea had profound consequences for Russia's relations with the West. It shattered any remaining illusions of a post-Cold War partnership and ushered in a new era of mistrust and confrontation. For Putin, the annexation of Crimea was a strategic triumph. It secured Russia's access to the Black Sea, boosted his popularity at home, and sent a clear message to the West that Russia would no longer tolerate what it perceived as encroachment on its sphere of influence. Section 7. Legacy in the Balance, Savior, or Autocrat. Vladimir Putin's legacy is a subject of intense debate. His supporters view him as the savior of Russia, the man who restored stability and prosperity after the chaos of the 1990s. They credit him with rebuilding the Russian military, asserting Russia's role on the world stage, and restoring national pride. Putin's critics paint a very different picture. They see him as an authoritarian leader who has dismantled democratic institutions, silenced dissent, and plunged Russia into international isolation. They point to his government's human rights abuses, its crackdown on the media, and its aggression against neighboring countries as evidence of his disregard for democratic values and international law. The truth, as is often the case, lies somewhere in between these two extremes. Putin's legacy is a complex one, marked by both undeniable achievements and troubling transgressions. He inherited a country in turmoil and transformed it into a global power, but at a significant cost to democratic freedoms and the rule of law. Putin's supporters argue that his firm hand was necessary to restore order and stability after the chaos of the 1990s. They point to the economic growth, improved living standards, and renewed sense of national pride that Russia has experienced under his rule. His critics counter that these achievements have come at too high a price. They argue that Putin has created a system where dissent is stifled, corruption is rampant, and the rule of law is routinely flouted. Section 8. A Story Unfinished, Putin's Enduring Impact. Vladimir Putin's story is far from over. He remains a formidable figure on the world stage, a master strategist who has defied expectations and reshaped the geopolitical landscape. His enduring impact on Russia and the world will continue to be debated for years to come. Putin's legacy will likely be shaped by how he chooses to navigate the challenges ahead. The ongoing war in Ukraine, the growing tensions with the West, and the internal challenges facing Russia will all test his leadership and determine his place in history. One thing is certain, Vladimir Putin is a figure who will continue to command attention and spark controversy. His story is a reminder that even in the 21st century, the forces of history can be shaped by the will of a single individual. Only time will tell how Putin's reign will ultimately be judged. But one thing is for sure, his impact on Russia and the world will continue to be felt for generations to come. His story is a cautionary tale about the allure of power, the fragility of democracy, and the enduring struggle between freedom and authoritarianism.